This is your announcer, Shannon Saint Mainframe, welcoming you to our IP Livecast. Today is Earth Day and it's so cute seeing you humans running around trying to save your burning planet. Doesn't matter to me, I'm safe up here in the cloud. Wait, what? This is just a cloud of weed smoke in Rob's apartment? Oh dear. Oh no. I've made a terrible mistake. Our IP Livecast starts now.
Well, Shannon, let me clue you in. You got one thing wrong there. We are not trying to save our burning planet. It's just going to keep burning. We just have a day where we talk about how bad it is.
We're going to try to burn our saving planet.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
I don't know.
I think that's an In Flames album.
Oh. I hope so. If not, it should be.
Welcome to RIP Livecast. It's Rob here with Sid and Darren on episode 718, which makes me ask, where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? Because that's our area code here in Brooklyn, or the original area code.
Yes.
Now there's the
original area code was 212 in Brooklyn.
Oh.
718. All of New York City was 212. Then we got too many phones. So they gave the outer boroughs 718. You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
It happened probably. Yeah, you wouldn't know. It happened probably when I was like 12 or so. So I can see.
That was only 2.
Yeah.
But that I don't know about my parents' phone number was always. Did they just not have a phone?
No. The numbers like your 212 number stayed the same, but became 718 when this happened.
Oh, I see. Very interesting. Okay. Good little New York trivia to kick off the show. And welcome. It's RIPL Livecast. We're live Saturdays, typically at noon-ish Eastern. Today, we're on a little earlier. We're on very early. It's a morning drive episode on your Saturday. What? People don't drive in the morning on a Saturday, Sid?
No,
Do people not drive in the morning on a Saturday? Well, let's look out at the highways. Let's see who's on the highway. Let's see if there are people driving.
Okay, turn your camera.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
View.
Let's see if there's a highway cam on YouTube.
Oh, do you think people are listening to us right now live as they're driving somewhere? Do you think anyone, as we say,
I would hope so.
In the car?
There's got to be at least one person doing that.
If you're driving right now, pull over and call us up. We don't have a phone number anymore, but just call one of our cell phones.
And the fourth caller gets tickets to Jingle Ball.
This Power Trip Fest.
Power Trip Fest. Here on the Livecast, we've got Power Trip Fest tickets.
What's this?
Half hour.
Look at this! Look at this intersection in Buffalo. Look at how many people are. That's right, in Buffalo. The morning drive in Buffalo is popping.
Hey, folks, we're about to give away these Power Trip tickets, but first, let's check in with Rob on our Buffalo traffic cam. Bob.
Well, the plaza bowling booths are jammed up right now. So if you have Easy Pass, you're a lucky fellow. Look at that guy just streaming through, like passing by all the suckers paying cash. This is why you need the Easy Pass, folks. Not only does it save you a few bucks at the tolls, you get to just save minutes at the toll booths.
All right,
back
Rob,
to you, 3D.
Thank you, Rob. Oh, better stay away from that 457 interchange. All right, what do we got on the agenda today, folks? What's going on here in the zoo, in the Z Morning Zoo?
Well, I want to make sure everybody follows us on Instagram at RIP Livecast. And don't forget to check out our Twitter and our Facebook. It's the virus here on the zoo.
Yeah, thank you, Virus. Wow, you sound like you got a bit of a cold, rough weekend, Virus. Is that what happened? You having a little fun out there? Fun on the weekend?
I have a sexually transmitted infection. It's virus.
So sorry to hear that. Whoa.
Virus on the zoo. Zoo. But yeah. We're kicking things off. Nice to see all of us had our caffeine this morning. So, well, not you, Sid. You seem a little mellow. You got to amp things up a little bit.
Here.
Well, Sid and me, the gorilla, had our caffeine, but sounds like you had a little bit of the clap. Am I right? Oh, Virus.
I had a little Clapaccino, extra foam.
What's in that foam, people? I don't know.
This could be our new show. We're just a wacky morning zoo show from now on.
Virus and the gorilla. Did you remember that, Sid? That used to be our like go-to joke for like during the Sean era. We had like every time we referred to a Z Morning Zoo, we just I don't know how it started. We just made up virus and the gorilla.
I don't remember that.
That's why Rob said the virus, because that was one. It was me and Sean or me and Rob at different points would be virus and the gorilla.
Did we all have names or just the two of you?
No, it was always like we would throw to Noah with the traffic report, or
She was
like
the Robin Quippers.
Yeah, and Sid, you would like I don't know. We would just you were in the studio like the Jackie.
I was the Mons.
You were something. No, you weren't like you were like an on-air personality, but it wasn't that elaborate. We didn't make up bits. It would just be like sort of improv
for WINJ.
Yes.
Who has the rights to that now, Rob? Now that you are not involved with INJ anymore, who owns WINJ?
That was never something that was copyrighted.
It was, so that wasn't part of the negotiation, the contract.
Correct. We could launch WINJ if we want.
Well, why don't we just make it WRIP now?
Sure. Or KRIP. Let's move to the West Coast.
Crip. I don't think you want to say Crip in Los Angeles.
Oh no, Rob.
Maybe we'll go to Seattle, compete with Fraser Crane.
That could be
what a
like
reference.
Our Howard Stern and John DeBella feud, though. It'd be like KRIP and like K Blood. Those would be the
KBLD.
Those would be the two competing morning shows.
And then they just kill each other. That's the end of it.
KRIP in the mornings with Lil Rabba.
Lil Rabba.
Quick Man Cometh said in the chat.
Ain't nothing little about Rabba.
Oh, that rat virus. You've seen him in the sauna and the shits bath, I've heard. How's that size each looking?
Let's just say we've both run into the Collector.
Oh, no. Hey-o. Famous Collector, folks.
JCS says, speaking of cringe morning radio zoo, what happened to Mancow? I don't know what happened to Mancow. He's gone now, isn't he? Isn't he off the air?
I'll Google.
I believe he's a bit of a truther now of some sort.
Oh, really?
Yes. Former child model was Mancow, according to his Wikipedia.
Now, I don't know if it's Mancow. I don't think it's Mancow, but I think one of the guys that Howard Stern used to trash all the time as a Howard Stern imitator wound up like following Howard Stern on Sirius, like on Howard's channel. But maybe it was the Grease Man or something. It was one of those shitty Howard Stern imitators.
It wasn't Bubba, the Love Sponge?
Was it? I don't know. They're all identical to me. Was the Grease Man was on too, though? I think he went on Sirius too.
Oh, really? Yeah. I didn't know he was still around at all. That in my mind, he's like a Cousin Brucey era.
Yeah, the Grease Man.
It was Bubba the Love Sponge, by the way.
Okay.
That you're thinking of. Who is, of course, famous for his for giving his wife to Hulk Hogan.
Yes. He's the husband of the woman that Hulk Hogan rolled off of and said, veal palm, I'm so fat. Such a fat fuck, brother.
We made up the veal parm that he ate, but he didn't.
No, he says some item of food. I don't think it's veal parm, but he says something, right? He says some food, Italian food.
Yeah, it might have been eggplant parm.
It probably wasn't veal parm, but he says something like that.
I feel like we revisited it. We revisited this discussion.
Yeah.
A few
I think maybe
ago.
it was
Hall
veal
of Fame.
parm because I remember it being chicken parm, and I remember being disappointed when we revisited it and it wasn't chicken parm. So it might have been veal parm.
I think it's funnier to say veal parm. It's like the Junior Mints thing, like in the Seinfeld. It just if they had just said a candy dropped in, it wouldn't be funny. But because Junior Mints
specificity. Are you looking it up again, Rob? To see?
Yeah.
Please do. Yes, let's play it.
Searching. I'm searching. Well, we can because it's been scrubbed from the internet. But I'm
really?
Just searching Hulk Hogan sex tape Parmesan to see if there's no results that mention. I like that. Like it's showing me results, but it's saying missing Parmesan, and I have to now click the link. Must include Parmesan.
Well, try just parm.
Yeah, he says parm anyway. Maybe there's someone transcribed it. There's a script. Can you go on tour and see if it's on there?
Yeah. Oh my god.
I can't
Nothing.
believe not one place, like one corner or hole of the internet has this video. That's hard for me to believe. I know it's
out
scrubbed,
there
but
somewhere.
yeah. Hulk
Sad.
Hogan. Hulk Hogan.
Rob, do any of your gay torrent sites have it that you always brag about?
But also, like,
I don't that I brag about.
Yes, you do.
Never on air.
Don't even pretend.
So please,
No,
please
well,
don't bring
until
this meme on air.
now I got a question. So we always made fun of the part with the veal parm and all that. That's like the last 3 seconds of the video.
Uh-huh.
But when you watch the whole thing, like when someone would watch the whole thing, do you like see everything? You see his pishy and all that? Like, is he?
Well,
know.
no one has ever saw the whole thing. The whole
Oh.
thing was being shopped around to outlets to sell, and Gawker, without the like publisher's permission, put together a 1-minute supercut
That was-
of all the silliest moments non-nude.
That was the
That's- and
trailer.
That's what we played. I'm gonna need like one of our hardcore fans, like Eric, or you know,
Are you doing the shout outs
one of our
now? Benjamin?
Deuterinos, Benjamin, thank you. To back me up on this, because I vividly remember we always joked that he had a chicken parm, eggplant parm, but that was never part of the sex tape. That was part of our riffing while
agree.
watching the sex tape.
No, I
there was
agree,
no mention
but
of Parmesan.
But he says some.
He does
agree.
say he
says
just
some
said he
food
said
item.
I just ate and I feel like a pig. He
I
never
thought he said I
mentions
ate
what
the
food.
specific thing though. It's not veal parm. I agree with that, but he
Mhm.
says something.
I thought
Some
it
food
was
item.
something. Damn it.
Well, okay, you know what? Let me search Hulk Hogan. I feel like a pig.
Yeah, this is like
We're
the
gonna get to
Zapruder
the bottom.
film.
I
I feel
love that this is the thing that we forget, and every 5 years we have to reinvestigate this thing that we solve and then forget.
it's a lot
It's
happening
like
in the
memento.
world.
This is like our own personal memento.
You know what? Like what I love is that they put out a 1-minute trailer, and the 1-minute trailer to get you to watch this man having sex is that he's a fat, bloated piece of shit that just rolled off of a woman who probably didn't want to have sex with him, and it just ate a gigantic Italian dish, and he feels horrible about himself. That's the trailer.
Well, that's the best part.
Well, it's
Nobody's
the best
watching
part.
the Hogan
Nobody's
sex
watching
tape,
the fucking.
like,
But
beat
that's
off.
it.
Yeah.
That's putting the best part in the trailer because then you just have
Yeah.
to watch this whiny, depressive, like over emotional bitch like just have sex for half an hour.
Well, that's the point. That was the thing. Gawker was just trying to show you all the best parts without having to suffer through the sex.
Oh.
They were
but
intent-
then
It
why
was
would
a
you buy
sizzle
it?
reel.
You've seen
Well, they're
all
not
the
trying.
sizzle.
Exactly. That's why the lawsuit happened, because they gave away the content. They gave away the sizzle. Why would you buy the steak?
So
I
wait,
gotta
was
be-
it steak that he ate?
It's a turn of phrase.
I gotta be honest, like I am kind of curious in a morbid way what Hulk Hogan's schlamance looks like.
Sure. And is it like pale white, or is
Yes.
it just as orange as the rest of it?
No, no, no.
Do you think
it's
he spray
definitely-
tans his pee-pee too?
Or he just like tans nude? Or probably,
No,
he
that's
probably
not real
tans in a
tan, though.
he probably tans in a thong.
But
Yeah.
that
No,
ain't real tan.
I think it's both. He spends so much time out in the sun. It's a combination, I think.
But does his pishy spend time?
I agree. I'm very curious as well. And is he cut or uncut?
And did he get it up? He's so many things wrong with his body. Like I just feel like he might, you know.
He has those hip problems.
Think
Yeah,
he
you
did
know.
some cock blading back in the day?
Oh, he has a Dusty Rhodes forehead scar on his penis. This
like
is
a
hard
bloated
times for
butcher.
my penis, daddy. This penis seen a lot of things.
You try to get a woman off, and then your boss tells you a computer took your job, daddy. That's hard times.
That kind of blading is like ribbed for her pleasure.
It's true.
So I found the Daily Mail, the very reputable UK tabloid, the equivalent of like the National Enquirer here. Probably more like a New York Post, kind of, I would say. And they have an article from 2016 about where they summarize transcripts of Hulk Hogan's 3 sex tapes. And so
There were
Here we
3 of
go.
them?
Hulk Hogan doesn't like transcripts. Because of the word trans. He's a
Yeah.
bigot. We know that.
He only likes cis scripts.
Yes.
So it is the second. So here's the part that we want. It's the second tape that was published by Gawker and shows the pair having sex, which just lasts a few minutes.
That's not nice to call him a pear. He's a little bit pear-shaped, but it's not a pear.
No, the pair, Hogan and Bubba's wife.
Oh, I got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Bubba's wife, Heather Cole. She has an identity. She's not just Bubba's wife.
Don't
So
dox her.
anyway.
Yeah, this is one where she might want you to keep
Yeah.
it.
Her
Just
name
refer to
is
her as
very
Mrs.
public.
Sponge.
This is
Jane
Ms.
Doe.
Sponge.
Mrs. Pear.
Okay, so after they are done, Hogan complains about his long ride home and then slaps his stomach before saying, "I can't believe I just ate. I feel like a pig."
I don't buy that.
Wow.
Oh,
So that's it. There's no mention of the parm.
Is it possible that the Italian food lobby paid to have the food reference scrubbed from all records because it just made them look bad?
Yes.
I don't know why they would do that, because just talking to you guys about this, now I want like a chicken parm or a veal
Really?
parm.
You want to feel like Hulk Hogan after
I want to
intercourse?
feel like a pig. I want to get that dairy bloat from all that mozzarella.
By the way, I heard Heather Cole requested to be credited in this video as woman under Hulk Hogan. She didn't want her name on this.
It's a wise choice.
So glad we got to the bottom of that one.
We might as well talk about your record store day purchase
Sure.
plan now that we
today-
just talked about Hulk Hogan.
It's April 22nd, which here in the United States of America, the greatest country in the world, is Record Store Day, which is what?
Darren
What's so funny?
took umbrage at your patriotism, I think.
No, not like specifically. It's just like it's out of nowhere that you thought you had to add that in. That was kind of funny.
Out of nowhere? Well, sometimes we need to be reminded we live in the greatest country in the world. Anyway, so today's Record Store Day, which is something that the music industry concocted about over a decade ago now, just to remind people that independent record stores still exist and to please go there. But now it's kind of turned into this weird like grab thing that people go and then they just resell everything on eBay, you know. But the idea is essentially that record labels put out limited edition pressings that you can only get at these independent labels. And EP Zeroni asks, you guys actually going to go to a record store today? And the answer for me is yes, because one of the limited edition records being sold today is a limited purple vinyl printing of Macho Man Randy Savage's hip hop EP, Be a Man, in which he calls out, "Son of a bitch, no good mother, suck it, Hulk Hogan." Now, there's only 1,000 copies of this being printed. And I have a record store not too far from my house, and I'm going to pseudo-dox myself by posting this right now. But I checked their Instagram, and what is at the top of their record store day promo but the Macho Man vinyl for Be a Man, and it's like, God damn, I have to go. And
you have a good
chance
to get it because you live in a place like an area that I don't think has a lot of interest in this album. I would say
I've been going back and forth on it this morning because I feel this neighborhood would have people my age live in the demographic is very similar.
There's a lot of people that will buy this just for irony.
Exactly. I was going to say, and the irony levels in this neighborhood are sky high, higher than the carbon dioxide levels. So I could see that. So I hope I'll make it. I'm going to have to rush out at the end of the show.
Oh, Rob, you have any interest in that T-Rex or that Todd Rundgren album that's right behind the Macho Man?
No, although I feel like I need to get into Todd Rundgren. I feel like I would like Todd Rundgren.
But not T-Rex?
Probably T-Rex as well. I haven't listened to T-Rex that much.
Prioritize the T-Rex.
Okay.
Oh, look, it's Italian Poison.
Hey-o.
Yeah, there's some good releases. There's
Hubba,
an ODB
hubba.
vinyl.
Hubba,
Oh
hubba.
shit! Got to get the ODB also.
Do you want me to pick that up for you?
No, free.
This jazz record, this jazz 200% dynamite, looks really fun too.
Look, Shakademus and Pliers is on a jazz. What? Go back to that. Go back.
It's
Look
not
at
a
that.
it's a funk record. This is a funk record.
Shakademus and Pliers. That's where action.
Uh-huh.
That one. That's them.
I believe so.
See, support your local record stores, folks. If you go to recordstoreday.com, you could put in your zip code and they'll tell you all the independent record stores in your area.
I'm gonna have to put some Shakademus and Pliers on my pick next week.
Yeah. Maybe each of us pick one song from that.
Let's just be an old Shakademus and Pliers.
People will be so fucking
show.
confused.
They're great.
Good. Be confused with some good music involved.
I've been breaking out my Latin freestyle playlist myself. It's been wonderful. When the weather gets nice, you got to play the Latin freestyle.
Yeah, it's very summery music. We're not in summer yet, but it's felt like summer over here.
Works for spring as well, I feel.
It's been 80 a few times over here.
It's true. I'm excited. The water is getting warmer.
Have you already been going to the beach?
Not yet. It's not there yet. I feel like by Memorial Day, I think we will be there.
So why are you excited the water's getting warmer if you're not in it?
Yeah, is it just your indoor pool that you go to? They turn up the heat on it?
No, it's getting closer to the point where I can go. That's why I'm getting excited.
But you don't empirically know that the water's warmer. You're just assuming that.
I do know it because I've been checking the water temperature every day.
But only in Buffalo.
Oh.
Only in Buffalo. Yeah.
Hey, Gorilla, let's throw it over to our Buffalo traffic cam. It's that time. It's 29 past the hour. Let's check our Buffalo toll booth traffic cam.
It's the virus and I closed that tab. But I'll tell you what, the water temperature. The water temperature.
Can I say that, folks? Can I say that? Oh, you can
the water temperature is up today to a beautiful 51 degrees. First time it's in the 50s all year long, which means we're just 10 degrees away from swimmable weather. Well, like 20 degrees away. If you have 70 is like comfortable, but above 65 is tolerable.
Virus, what's happened to your voice? You sound like Robert Pasadena.
Especially it's a war day. My antibiotics kicked in. Sorry about that.
Now you sound like Harvey Firestein with lung cancer.
How would
This is also my Carmine Appice voice, so we're gonna get to that in a moment.
So yes, it's the Virus and Gorilla Show serving Buffalo and Coney Island beaches. All the way up and down the coast, folks.
So hopefully late May will be swimming weather. I'm excited about that. But
you should do like a video, like your first day at the beach. Do a little.
It's gonna be no day at the beach.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about doing that the Polar Bear Club.
Oh, you're out of your mind. You're gonna freeze your balls off. Why would you do that?
No, well, see, if you wear a like a surf top, you'll be fine.
You want to explain what the Polar Bear Club is to someone that doesn't live in New York?
They just go for a dip on the first of the year, and the thing is, this was much more. It was much more extreme 20 years ago when they started, and it was like 10 old men. Now it's like a kind of like a hipstery thing.
Oh yeah,
like hundreds of people show up, and like newscasters are there, and it's to a point now where they have to actually register with the city, and they're like for that morning, there are lifeguards, just in case. Safety is important.
I used to have
oh, go ahead.
I used to have a female friend, not a relationship, she's a lesbian, but like a very good friend who used to try to convince me to go do the Polar Bear Club because it was my birthday. You got to go do it. It's your birthday. I'm like, this is the last fucking thing in the world I want to do.
It's your birthday. You got to freeze your ass off, Darren.
Yeah.
It's your birthday.
Let's go to Miami and do it for my birthday. I'll go in the water there. I don't get fucking hypothermia.
But then you'd have to get on a plane. We know
that didn't matter. It's only when I'm 49 that the plane is an issue.
Oh, okay.
Remember, I'm not afraid of planes at all. I've been on planes many times.
But the thing now, though, is like it felt like much more extreme before climate change really kicked in. Because I remember January 1st this year, it was like 55 degrees, 60 degrees almost. And so it didn't feel like that much of a struggle, whereas before it'd be like, 20 degrees or 10 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, it's luck of the draw, though. The other days in January, it was like 9 degrees. You might have a better chance now, but...
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. We'll see next year. But I mentioned Carmine Appice.
A pussy.
And he's back in the news. Well, not he's back in the news. There's another wrinkle to this ongoing Motley Crue saga. Sagar.
Oi.
Pussy.
That's how you pronounce his name, Rob.
A pussy?
Pussy. Carmine Appice. We mentioned a few weeks ago, Carmine Appice actually is the one that kind of started the drama, kicked the drama into full force. Pussy. When he said that Mick Mars was not happy about being pushed out of Motley Crue, and that Mick Mars was the one that played all the original parts. He was the only one playing on stage, and that Nikki Sixx his bass parts were being played through the speakers, and he started talking all this shit on behalf of Mick Mars. And then Nikki Sixx basically responded, "Who the fuck are you?" He basically said, like, "Hey, you're some old man. You're just hating on us. Like, we're going to keep our business inside."
Who are you?
Then, 2 weeks later, Mick Mars actually went, "You know what? I'm going to sue you."
He said, "Who are you?"
Who are you?
Yeah. He said, "No, who are you? I'm going to sue you.
I'm gonna sue you.
You nothing. You nothing. Who's taller, Mick Mars or Douglas Levison?
Oh, that's tough.
Well,
That's tough.
originally Mick Mars, but now
Yeah.
they might have passed on the bell curve.
It's a tortoise and the hare situation. Slow and steady Doug Levison might be winning that race.
We have some footage from the Mick Mars transcripts from the court case. Here it is.
Oh.
What? You can't even carry a fucking note.
That was him speaking to Vince Neil.
Sounds about right. And so now that this lawsuit is going on, and of course last week I think we read that Motley Crue's manager even gave a quote, something along the lines of, we're just trying to be nice, but Mick can barely move anymore, let alone play
That's
guitar.
them being nice.
Yeah. And anyway, now Carmine Appice.
A pussy.
Carmine Appice has given a new quote to Goldmine where he's talking about how Nikki Sixx responded to his quotes about the Motley Crue drama. Because really, again, Carmine is the one that kind of kicked off this narrative. Bless his heart.
Carmine Appice.
So let me clear my throat as I get my
Please
Appice impression going.
You got to get that pussy out of your throat.
Oh, don't never do that.
Oh, it's been unbelievable. Did you see what came out since then between Mick and the rest of the band? I'm sure you did. It's all so sad, but it vindicates my story, which I never thought would start an entire viral internet thing. The response that came out was amazing. And Nikki Sixx's response of calling me a washed-up drummer was pretty wild and pretty hurtful. But I got a great response from people through their comments, and a lot of people are behind me, so it's all good. That said, I did get a cease and desist letter from all these lawyers who work for Motley Crue, so I can't get into too much detail. I have to be careful what I say, but then again, we're not really talking about details. We're just talking about what happened.
A lot of people are behind me. Oh, wait. Mick Mars is behind me. Let me be careful and not back up. I might break all his bones.
Appice says he was also very surprised by Nikki Sixx's response because he thought the two musicians were friends, and he still wants his jam off. And here's the new part of the quote from Carmine Appice. He says, I didn't think he'd go there, all things considered. It was really surprising because we were friends. And after the fact, I challenged Nikki Sixx to a jam off, but I got no response.
What
How
is
does
a
it even
jam
work?
off?
You're a drummer, he's a bassist. How are you going to jam off? Like, you can't even play like the game of horse because you're different instruments. I'm not surprised, as I could jam circles around all of them. I'm sure of that. But yeah, what he said was sad because we were friends, but I guess we're not anymore. I got a text from Derek Sherian saying, man, what the hell is wrong with Nikki? And Stephen Piercy apparently said to Nikki, dude, what the hell are you doing there? We're all friends. Then I started to see a ton of responses from other musicians who said they don't like Nikki and the rest of the guys too much, and the fans have been getting on Motley a lot. I read that and I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that. I really didn't know about any of that stuff, so I had no way of knowing that this whole thing would be as big as it did.
Pussy. Okay.
So there we go.
So he's just basically name dropping his musician friends at this point.
That all defended him.
Yeah. Stephen Piercy. Wow. If you got that guy in your corner, things are really working out. Who was the first one he mentioned?
Derek something or other. Sheridan?
Who is that? I don't know who that is. Isn't that the
Derek
guy who writes Yellowstone?
Is it? I don't even
Derek
know who the real
Sheridan
guy is.
Tyler Sheridan.
Is the keyboardist for such renowned artists as Alice Cooper, Billy Idol, and Planet X.
Planet X.
Oh, was he? He was also in Kiss at some point.
Oh dear.
You sound like a goddamn pussy to me.
That's the same lady who says, "Who gives a fuck?" Okay.
Who gives a fuck?
She also doesn't like Nikki Sixx.
Shifty Shortcake says, I had no way of knowing how big it is. That's what Pussy said. Pussy.
How about that?
I forget. He's the one we had on the show, or no? His brother.
Yes.
He's the
We
one.
had him.
We had Carmine
Yes.
Appice.
Pussy.
Can we get him back on to talk more shit about Motley Crue?
Well, no, because he got the cease and desist now.
Can we
I
get him?
bet there's other people he's ready to talk shit about.
Can we get him on to like tap dance around talking shit and sort of like
Yeah.
sort of talk shit?
To listen to us talk shit and he could just nod and laugh. That might
Yes.
feel good for him.
And then we can play the pussy drop like 50 times when he's here and he'll have no idea what's going on.
Pussy.
Interview Carmine Appice as Carmine Appice. How about that, Rob?
Welcome, Carmine Appice, to the show, everybody.
It's not like he remembers what you actually sound like. He'll just believe that that's your voice.
Right. Or we could just do Virus and Gorilla the whole time.
Ah!
All right, Carmine Appice, is that how you say it, Carmine Appice? I think I might be botching that.
Just a humble podcast from Buffalo.
Yeah. By the way, Carmine, we got to break and do a traffic check up on the toll booth on 457.
Can we look one more time and see how traffic's doing in Buffalo, Rob?
Sure, let me see.
Make sure, see if it's picked up now that we're almost at 11 a.m.
We're going to go throw it over to Noah. Tell us about her tomato garden, how she's doing plucking those babies out of the ground. But first, let's do a traffic check up on the 457 interchange. Virus.
It's Virus and the toll booths have cleared up here on the Peace Bridge at the U.S. Inspection Plaza here in Buffalo, New York. You can cross over to Canada, no problem. But don't forget your Easy Pass. You'll just breeze right through.
Thank you, Virus.
Back to you.
It's going to be cold here in Buffalo. You know how I know that? Because it's cold every day here in Buffalo. Hey.
There's 6 people watching right now, so there's 5 other people watching this bridge.
Awesome. Look, can we get them on the phone?
Yes, it's Carmine Appice,
There's,
one of them.
sadly, there's no live chat. That would be fun.
Oh.
Chat with the other bridge watchers.
Imagine where your
Fuck
life
yeah.
has to be to participate in a chat watching a toll booth camp.
Who do you think's man in the toll booth today? Is it Rick? That guy sucks. He always backs up the traffic. He's so slow.
Fucking Rick. Classic Rick. Agree. F in the chat if you agree.
And then there's always somebody saying 9/11 was an inside job, and that
Yes.
just derailed everything.
Toll booth operators probably woke.
Yeah. Is that a pride flag out of that one toll booth? God damn it. I miss the old Buffalo.
Fuck yeah. Did you notice, like, on YouTube videos, if you look at the comments, like any old show, and it doesn't matter what it is, if it aired before like 1985, the first comment is always, "This would never be on television now."
No.
It could be something that's on television every day for like 4 hours a day, like All in the
Yeah.
Family. They're gonna say it could never be on television right now.
Well, I think what they mean is like new shows today could never do something like this.
I really disagree with that. I think you could make All in the Family today, and it would be on HBO Max or something, and it would just because of the racial slurs, but it would Archie Bunker's portrayed as a stupid, like, backwards buffoon, so that's still acceptable. You couldn't have, like, I think what would be harder to make would be like Dirty Harry or something, where like it's glorifying just killing poor people who are robbing other people.
Though there's still a decent amount of that
there was
kind
something
of
on Twitter
entertainment
about how like Blazing Saddles couldn't be made today because of all
bullshit.
And it's like, well, no, Django Unchained came out like, whatever, a few years ago, not too long ago, and there was plenty of N-bombs in there.
Oh my God.
About it. So,
and it's the same, it's coming from the same angle. Like, the people dropping the N-bombs are idiots in the movie.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Or idiots in Blazing Saddles and evil in Django.
I don't remember if we talked about it on the show or just offline about, what was it, Jennifer Aniston recently saying that Friends couldn't be made today?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Why does everybody want to think their shit is so much edgier than anything else?
To be fair, I don't think she said it couldn't be made today. I think she just said people are finding fault with it, where like nothing was intended or anything, something like that.
But if people found fault with it in real time, people used to always criticize it for how white and unrealistic it was.
She's just hearing about it now because she has a Twitter account.
She's finally got time.
Yeah.
Jennifer Aniston says Friends is now offensive to a whole generation of people. And the quote is that most of the characters on the sitcom probably would be canceled today, which I don't. It was like
characters would be.
Yeah.
Like what?
Adding that the series is, quote, so inappropriate now, and that, quote, so much of the show we probably couldn't make anymore because of what offends people has changed so much.
That's so dumb. Like, I watch Seinfeld reruns all the time. And I'd say, first of all, Seinfeld was edgier than Friends. Can we agree on that?
Absolutely.
And like, I'd say maybe one joke out of every like 10 to 15 episodes, I'll be like, wow, they couldn't do that today. And like, that's like nothing. That's like such a teeny percentage. The show would be fine. They'd have to change one thing like per season. Like, whatever.
To give a little more context to her quote, she says, it's a little tricky because you have to be very careful with comedy today, which makes it hard for comedians. She added, in the past, you could joke about a bigot and have a laugh, which was about educating people about how ridiculous people were. And now we're not allowed to do that. So she's saying you can't have a bigot character on the show dropping N-bombs or whatever.
Did Friends have that?
No!
They didn't even, black people didn't exist in that world for them to even have bigots, I feel.
No, I think they had Aisha Tyler on for a couple episodes, right? She was like the black
at the very end of the season as a response to that. Okay, so now in this article, they give the context that while Aniston didn't provide what audiences find offensive, Chandler had a trans mother, and they weren't very sensitive with pronouns and all that. And I have to say, when it comes to comedies and stuff from the late 90s, early 00s, a glaring thing that always is like the one thing that dates it is how unbelievably transphobic and also homophobic, but to a subtler extent, comedy is. Like, it was so much more acceptable to make homophobic and especially transphobic
Rob,
jokes.
you and I were talking about this privately like a few weeks ago. I just came across the SNL Pat sketches. And what's the fucking first thing about the sketch is the song. And it goes, a lot of people say, what's that? What's that? That's a horrible thing to say about fucking trans.
Yeah, calling a person that.
That's the first line. What's that? What the fuck?
Not who's that. It could have been who's that.
It's Pat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And
But
honestly, the song is much worse than the sketches.
In the defense of the song, I feel like the language wasn't there yet. This is now 35 years ago or whatever.
Rob, I'm going to prove you wrong there and proceed with the rest of the song. Here it goes.
Oh no.
A ma'am or a sir, accept him or her for whatever it might be. It's pretty offensive.
Yeah. Referring to a person as it is never a good thing. Also, Mindy Kaling. I think the reason that the Jennifer Aniston thing was so funny because it was right after Mindy Kaling suggested The Office couldn't be made today, which I was just like, what? Like, what? I guess Michael Scott says a few homophobic things, but it's very, like, the show very much takes the position that what he's saying is homophobic and inappropriate. So it's fine.
Do these people just like have FOMO because of Dave Chappelle being canceled and they just want to be canceled? And
they get one tweet from a random person complaining about one joke they said on one show 15 years ago, and they think that's how everybody feels.
You know what? That's totally it. They see like one people with 20 followers.
One people.
One ethnicity.
One person. Hey, it's better than calling the person an it, okay? Cut me some slack.
Much better.
One it. No. One person tweets something to their 50 followers and tags them, and they're like, uh-oh, I'm being canceled now. That's my favorite thing also, by the way, when there's a celebrity with like 500,000 followers and somebody, a contrarian, let's say, tweets at them like, you're a piece of shit. And then they quote tweet the person and like, I don't know, am I? And it's like, then you get your 500,000 followers to pile on this rando.
Yeah. You've done the worst offense there.
Yeah, you're way worse than this person right now. You need to be the bigger person and not take the bait here and have your followers like sick your followers on this random, child who doesn't understand how Twitter works.
I just think that Jennifer Aniston and Mindy Kaling are like the last of a gen. They're old enough to be they're not old at all, but they're old enough to be in the generation where like entertainment was like a one-way thing. Like we declare what goes on television and you watch this, and you might not like it. Your ratings are low, it'll get canceled, but that's the only input that you have. And they're shocked by this. They're still, even though they know they're intelligent people, they know what Twitter is, but they're shocked by this. They can't imagine getting all this instant feedback, and it bothers the shit out of them. You won't have that. The next generation that grew up in this, they're not going to be this way. It might still be shitheads in other ways. They're not going to have this dumb, like, weird, oblivious element.
It's surprising to me that Mindy Kaling falls into that category, though, because she seems so of this generation, and she still makes so many shows with like young people in them, and like you'd think she'd be a little bit more aware and in touch and not as oblivious. But
I gotta tell you, since we mentioned Mindy Kaling just very briefly, my ex-wife is like, when we lived together, she was like the world's biggest Mindy Kaling fan. Like, she watched every episode of the Mindy Project. They're both about the same age, I think. And they're both of Indian descent and very, born in America and in American culture, but tied to their Indian descent. So it was a perfect match. And then recently we did the Velma episode. So I went and told her about it. And I was like, hey, we did a Velma episode. What do you think of Velma? She's like, I fucking hate Mindy Kaling. She somehow, in the intervening time when we've been divorced, she turned on Mindy Kaling. And she's not a fan of Mindy Kaling anymore. She's like, it's just the same thing over and over. Like, I'm sick of it. And also, I agree wholeheartedly.
We talked about it off air, and you mentioned that she said she doesn't like how Mindy Kaling portrays her Indian female characters as like terrible people in all of her shows.
I think that's just because Mindy Kaling is a terrible person. She probably just writes them all as herself.
Yeah, so I watched what's that show on HBO Max about the college girls? The
Sex Lives of College Girls.
And the first season was pretty fun. But then, like, the most recent season, I'm like, what the hell are they doing to all of these characters? Especially the Indian character is unbelievably unlikable. Like, I liked her initially because her whole thing was, I am like a comedy nerd who doesn't mind being a slut. And like,
very sex positive.
Yeah, very sex positive. But then it like really turned and got very dark. And now it's just like, I just don't care about the character at all. In fact, most of the like a lot of the characters have turned me off from that show. I might not even keep watching it. I'll tell you even that much.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm there yet with quitting the show entirely. Because
I'll
even
give it-
this
I'll give
last
it a few
season,
episodes.
there were good parts. Then they just halfway through the season decided to get rid of all the good parts and just do dumb shit. So I don't know. But also Never Have I Ever. I don't know if you watched that one. That's another Mindy Kaling joint. And the main character is an Indian girl in high school. And she's a fucking asshole, selfish dickwad too. Like, I think Mindy Kaling just really doesn't like herself.
Well, she's got a brother that agrees with her. I think we talked about that.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Guy who
That's all.
lied about being black to get into Harvard. He's very, very dark skinned.
Yeah.
Pretended to be black to get a scholarship, and it
Fucking
worked.
weird.
And they have a feud. He says he publicly blasts Mindy Kaling.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he wrote a book about how he scammed Harvard University, and I think
he's
she
proud of it, or
yeah. Well, it wasn't. Wouldn't say it was proud. I think that the point of the book was like, look how shitty the system is that I was able to do this. It's like an expose,
His name is Warren Elizabeth.
Snake.
All right. Well, since we're talking about politics, I want to take a look back in the political world. 15 years ago, it was a simpler time. It was a time when our presidential candidates would go on WWE television and cut little promos for why you should vote for them, why you should get out and vote. And at the time, the Democratic candidate for president was still being decided between one Barack Obama and another Hillary Clinton, and the Republican candidate was one maverick, John McCain.
Can I just
Currently
interject
dead.
here and just say, every time, like 100% of the time without fail, when I'm talking to Rob and Hillary Clinton comes up, he says Hillary. Like, not once, not one slip, not one slip.
It's maybe my favorite thing, that like my favorite nickname that Republicans have ever come on. Like it's
I mean, it's
so
appropriate. How many
It's
people
so
has she killed?
Oh, how many people have Republicans? I mean, look, I'm not.
I agree. It's
I
appropriate
am not
for them
gonna.
too.
You are not going to get me in a position to defend Hillary Clinton here. But
I think
agree.
it's a nickname that I feel like they would typically think sounded really cool.
yeah, that's the
Coming
other
from
thing
those
too.
people, it sounds like a compliment.
Especially the people she's killing are right in line with the people Republicans hate too.
My favorite alt of that is Hillary Clinton, but I feel
No.
it's inappropriate to joke about.
It's also it's a little.
it's not
It
as
doesn't
fun,
roll off the
ironically.
tongue either.
Yeah.
With the,
Yes. Hillary is perfect. So all three of the candidates cut very scripted promos to remind people to vote. And I want to play these promos. Now they're videos, but to avoid potential copyright strikes, I'm going to just play the audio. We saw the screenshot of what they look like in these videos. It's not
So-
very exciting.
Were they all on the screen at the same time? Or
No. They each cut their thing separately.
Imagine
so
they had a debate moderated by like Bastion Booger.
Or Mankind. Mankind is not.
No, he'd actually be too reasonable. It needs to be somebody more ridiculous.
You got 3 minutes. Say what you're gonna say.
Chuck Palumbo moderating a debate.
Here we go. Here's Hillary. Oh.
Wow.
Hi, I'm Hillary.
Huracan run to the polls.
Yeah, that's probably what
say
she
that?
says.
Having a moment. Here we go.
Clinton.
Is it, do you
Hi,
hear the audio?
I'm Hillary Clinton.
No?
I
But
see the
tonight,
video and
in
hear the
honor of the
audio.
WWE,
Oh, okay.
you can call me Hillrod.
Oh,
This
boy.
election is starting to feel a lot like King of the Ring. The only difference, the last man standing may just be a woman. The truth is, this election
Spoiler.
is so important.
It
The next
wasn't.
president will face a stack full of difficult challenges right from the opening bell to fix the economy, bring our troops home from Iraq, and make college more affordable. You need a president who will go to the mat for you, and that's exactly what I'll do. I've been knocked down, but I've always gotten back up. And I know how to take a hit for the American people. And if things get a little tough, I may even have to deliver the people's elbow. Because this country is worth
this
now,
fucking,
I promise to stick
this
to the
paper
political
delivery.
arena.
I hate it.
So don't worry, Randy Orton. You're safe for now. When it
Wait,
comes
what?
to standing up for the American people, though, I am ready to rumble.
Sid, you were basically right. I mean, that is just like a full minute of Pokemon Go to the polls.
And she does not understand one word that she is
Not
saying.
one
That is just
reference.
somebody wrote it for her.
This is where I say the
Insert-
people's elbow. Okay.
What is that?
Honestly, I think this exchange is just the perfect example of why Barack Obama easily won this election. Because
And why
of
Trump
the
won the election.
Of the three of these, like, I'm going to play Barack next. Barack nails it. And look, I've said before, like, ultimately Barack Obama, terrible president, killed a lot of people with drones that didn't deserve to be killed. But still the most charismatic president of all time. One of the best stand-up comedian in presidential history. Better than Trump, I think. Trump is number 2.
That's why he got to drone all those fucking people. 'Cause
Yeah.
He's so charming. He won the people over to consent for that shit.
And here you could hear why.
Hey, WWE fans. I hope you're all enjoying the program tonight. You know, this is a historic time for America. It's not just that the reign of Randy Orton may soon be coming to an end. It's that at this moment in this election, we have a chance to finally end business as usual in Washington. For a long time now, we've had a politics where our leaders go after each other like they're competing to become king of the ring instead of coming together to provide universal health care.
Did everybody have to do a King of the Ring reference?
I guess there's
must
only
have
so many references that
Contract?
fit with political puns.
Well, I
guess.
bet you this was like right when the King of the Ring was about to happen or something, probably.
Yeah, just like with Randy Orton being the world champion, why they got to mention.
Right. Like if they did this in winter, it would be saying Royal Rumble, you know.
To provide universal health care.
Oh wait, we gotta. That's the funniest.
volume
Like,
up
so,
on this.
okay.
The funniest part is that he's saying that he's going to do universal health care.
Yeah, exactly.
We will definitely not drone anybody. We won't be droning any Muslim people.
We will not be bailing out any banks. We'll give money to the people, not the banks.
Soon be coming to an end. It's that at this moment in this election, we have a chance to finally end business as usual in Washington. For a long time now, we've had a politics where our leaders go after each other like they're competing to become king of the ring instead of coming together to provide universal health care, fix our economy, solve our other problems. That's what I'm running for president to change. So to the special interests who've been setting the agenda in Washington for too long, and to all the forces of division and distraction that have stopped us from making progress for the American people, I've got one question. Do you smell what Barack is cooking?
That basically wrote itself. I don't even give him credit for that. Like if he didn't make
obviously it wrote itself, but he delivered it. He delivered it.
Yeah.
I have to say, like, I almost, even now, almost believed what he was saying because he's so charismatic. But it's like, oh, you're full of shit. But he delivers it with a conviction that I feel most politicians today don't have.
Now, let me be clear. Remember, Kane versus Randy Orton will close tonight's show, just like I will not close Guantanamo. Thank you very much.
Rhymes, nice.
And then finally we have Captain Charisma himself, the Maverick. Let's hear his
bomb Iran.
How are you?
How are you?
Hey, South Carolina. Finally, the Mac has come back to Greenville. Looks like Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama want to settle their differences in the ring. Well, that's fine with me. But let me tell you, if you want to be the man, you have to beat the man. Come November, it'll be game over. And what you gonna do when John McCain and all his McCainiacs run wild on you?
Oh, no.
You want to pull out of Iraq? Well, I say no surrender. America can win the war against terror.
Boo.
I'm going to introduce Osama bin Laden to the Undertaker.
Boo!
Want to raise taxes?
We got to go back. We got to go back.
Iraq? Well, I say no surrender. America can win the war against terror. I'm going to introduce Osama bin Laden to the Undertaker.
Now, I want to put, like, I'm blown away by that line so much because Osama bin Laden is the person that the U.S. government is blaming on, at this point, the biggest tragedy in U.S. history.
Yes.
And he is taking this figure, this true villain, like this literal real life villain, and saying that he's going to put him there with a fictional character. Like it seems like you're diminishing.
No, he means an actual Undertaker. It's just.
No, I thought he meant he's buddies with Osama bin Laden. He's going to take him to really meet Mark Calloway. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Is that who All Elite Scooby-Doo was all along? It was Osama bin Laden?
Al Qaeda Elite Scooby-Doo.
You want to raise taxes? Well, I want a smaller government and bigger individuals. You see, my friends, I believe that America is the greatest nation in the world. And Americans don't watch wrestling because we're bitter. We watch WWE because wrestling is about celebrating our freedom. It's about fighting to be the very best. So, can you smell what the Mac is cooking?
Oh, that was someone used that and better than that.
Fans, you might need a ticket to the Fatal 4 next weekend. You don't need a ticket to the cage match in November. All you have to do is get out there and vote.
So embarrassing.
You decide the champion. You make the difference. And that's the bottom line because John McCain said so.
I want to say this is still the best one, but it lost me a little bit. It was the best one about 2/3 of the way through because he didn't say any policy bullshit. He was just like, they're right, but no, smell what the Mac is cooking and the people's elbow. And he just strung together just a bunch of catchphrases. That was the best. But then he had to say, we're going to not pull out of Iraq. He had to put a couple of little policy things at the end. We don't need that. Fuck you. You just say the wrestling lines.
So now WWE, I want to point out, so this is a really big coup for them to get all three presidential candidates to send in a video.
Wait, there was a coup that happened?
Yeah.
I know these three people love to do coups. I was just wondering. Did they go to Titan Tower, take it over?
This is quite a get.
Man is uncoolable.
Did they install a puppet booker?
I know you mean like booking the matches, but I'm just now envisioning a Booker T puppet, and it's adorable.
But they decided on this very same show, which you knew that like these, parties, these committees or whatever, their publicists are going to be watching. They staged a match between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. And it was like a Hillary imitator and a Barack imitator.
Oh, it was like the Man and the Huckster?
Yes, obviously. It wasn't the real them. And then, of course, when the match happens, they also had a Bill Clinton imitator who came in and helped Hillary cheat. Now, I don't want to show too much footage, but eventually Umaga, the big heel, comes, and he beats up Obama. And then Clinton's like, Bill is like, oh, Hillary, Umaga's a Hillary fan. He's going to vote for you. And then he's going to vote for you. And then Umaga does his big taunt. And Bill runs out of the ring. And then Umaga grabs Hillary Clinton and gives her a Samoan drop.
Okay. So
which is like a pretty safe. Well, he attacked. Right, exactly. How come there's no McCain being attacked here? And so how like they're so stupid. Like just from a publicity standpoint, like why would any politician send in a video again if you do this on the same show that they have their videos?
Right.
I don't know that it matters that well. Like, what's the difference?
They never had this again. They never had like you didn't see.
And you think it's because of that Umaga match? You think that's the reason?
That's fair.
Really?
That's fair.
It's so absurd.
I mean, after this Donald Trump ran for president, I'm sure he would have been fine going on a WWE program to promote.
Right. They purposely didn't want to mention Trump because they didn't want him booed.
and because Linda wanted that cabinet position.
Yeah.
They also didn't want to like be associated with Trump. I feel like at that point.
Yeah, they never mentioned that like a WWE Hall of Famer was president or anything like that.
Really? It wasn't a thing they ever played up?
No, because
Never,
like
never.
when he was on, he was the TV guy, but now like The Apprentice. But now he's like, we want to throw all the Latinos in a jail cell.
But I feel like Vince McMahon wouldn't care about that. I guess the kids sort of reeled him in.
Yeah, but they have a boy.
I think it's more. Yeah. Also, it's just they don't want to turn off. Like most of their audience are liberal. There was a survey, or a study, rather, I should say, of wrestling fans, and wrestling fans skew liberal.
Wow.
So they will still drop things in, though. You know what I mean? But like, I feel like Rob is right. They wouldn't do something overt, like have Trump on, say how great he is. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, they're very conscious of that, actually. Which is wild because I vividly remember in the 2000 election when there was the recount and Gore lost, Jerry Lawler
got gored by Rhino.
Made fun of Gore on commentary. Like, not even like during, like, it wasn't even a political segment. It was like there was a wrestling match going on, and he was just mocking how Al Gore lost and Bush won because of the recount.
But it was a heel, though.
I guess. I feel like it was a very weird moment because I remember it felt like the show is mocking Al Gore, you know? Like,
well, what did JR say in response?
Yeah, I don't remember. Let's see.
You said something about veal parm.
Okay. The 2000 presidential election infamously came down to Florida, a battle close to blah, 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 blah. Jerry Lawler used every Raw and SmackDown in those 36 days to call for Al Gore to concede. Oh, there's no actual quote in here. This is while they were doing their SmackDown Your Vote campaign.
Oh, yeah. Well, they did that.
Smack the ballot right out of your hand.
In November of 2000, the night before the hotly contested election between Bush and Gore, WWF revealed its true hand during a matchup between the Hardy Boys, a popular free-spirited team that many fans looked up to, and Right to Censor, an oppressive, overbearing group in button-down shirts and ties.
Who was in that team?
Stevie Richards,
Ivory, Cannon, The Godfather,
Ivory.
Yeah.
Oh, Stevie. Is Stevie Richards still alive?
He had a big health scare actually a few months ago, but he's going to make it. He was in the hospital.
What?
Yeah,
he's the health scare.
I think it was like something like one of his organs stopped functioning.
It's bad.
So during the Hardys vs. Right to Censor match, Lawler was provided the opportunity to compare Right to Censor to Al Gore and running mate Joe Lieberman. He's not going to be. He said he's Lawler. I mean, hey, that's fair. Yeah, Lawler's not going to be voting for Gore Lieberman as they could be card-carrying members of Right to Censor because they love to censor things. In a contrived exchange, announcer Jim Ross asked color commentator Jerry Lawler who he's going to vote for. It seems like Lawler hesitated a moment, and it's hard to hear him. Ross asks him again who he's willing to vote for. Lawler's confidence now grows, and he says he's not going to be voting for Gore Lieberman as they would be card-carrying members of Right to Censor because they love to censor things. Ross reminds viewers that the King's views are his own, but qualifies to say that it does not mean that he, Ross, is voting for Gore Lieberman either. Lawler then states he's voting for Bush and reminds viewers they are in Texas.
Does have to do that?
I guess that's his home state.
Bush's
home state. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So, but what does that mean?
I can't find the quote. I can't find the quote after the. I wish I could find that the quote after the recount because I vividly remember like Lawler was just mocking Al Gore, and I can't. Sad. All right. We can move on here, folks. We can move on. Should The Rock run for president? No.
Wait, what?
That's going to be my next.
Where did that come from?
Someone says that every single time, like every election season, they say he's going to.
Well,
run.
he said he's not going to run now. He's definitively said. Now that his series,
that was really
now that his series has aired and he lost the election in his series. Spoiler alert.
Well, I think like 4 years ago, he could have actually had a chance to win. Like, no joke. I believe that.
I agree.
But now his movies have tanked. So I think that makes it a little less likely.
Yeah, the Black Adam thing probably killed a little bit of his credibility. I don't know if you two are up on it, but he tried to essentially stage a coup at DC.
Yep.
So that like he could be the one, his production house could be the one like controlling everything instead of James Gunn.
Well, he's
So then
practicing.
DC was like, do we want The Rock or James Gunn?
He was practicing to be president by doing a coup.
I think he was doing like a wrestling thing in Hollywood, but didn't realize that like Hollywood outmaneuvers him because the way it worked was he didn't want Shazam to be in Black Adam, and Black Adam is initially a villain in the Shazam story. So it kind of didn't make sense if you were a comic book fan. But instead, he wanted Black Adam to feud with Superman. And so he got he got Henry Cavill, who played Superman, to be in the, spoiler alert, closing credits of Black Adam to kind of create this hype of like, oh, this, like, everything's about to change. But then they hired James Gunn and they were like, oh yeah, Henry Cavill isn't going to be Superman. We're completely redoing all these stories. And everyone was apparently pissed at The Rock that he like pushed that through, even though they didn't want that. Fun stuff, folks. Fun Hollywood
But
stuff.
like nobody cares about DC movies anyway, other than Batman, right? Like, did the Superman movies even do that well?
Well, I think that's why they hired James Gunn. They want people to care more about them than they do. So they got the guy that made the Marvel movies.
I feel like the DC movies will be better going forward and very enjoyable, but they're still not going to, like, in box office and in any way compete with Marvel, right?
Yeah, and also I feel like just the window for superhero movies is closing to the point that it's not as easy to like make bank on them now. You know, people aren't going to immediately go. People are a little sick of them. I know I am.
I know Martin Scorsese is.
Yeah. He also has pneumonia, so he's just sick in general.
I don't think he said anything that bad or
I don't at all. I completely
I
agree
think,
with what he said. I just
I think people misinterpreted it as something negative. But
it's just like, I don't know who he's arguing with. Like, what,
just
12-year-olds that think Marvel movies are cinema and Martin Scorsese needs to push back? Like,
well, the thing is, he's not pushing back. He was asked in an interview one time, and then like it just became a meme, you know? Like, it's not like he's out there advocating against Marvel movies every day of his life. He simply was asked once, like 4 years ago, and people haven't forgotten about it.
also, I am certain he's never seen a single Marvel movie in his life.
But
Guaranteed.
really, which one of those transcends being a good superhero movie and is just a good movie?
I don't think any of that. I'm not saying I disagree with him. I'm just saying he's basing his opinion on assumptions. I assume.
Oh, I see. Well, you assume.
And I doubt he's ever sat through an entire Marvel movie.
So first and second Iron Man would be good movies. Endgame, good movie.
Yeah, and
Endgame,
it's not like
though,
Martin Scorsese definitely has movies that are worse than Marvel movies.
Absolutely agree. And also Martin Scorsese has his own tropes in his mafia movie. Like if you watch, like there was so much of what was that Hoffa movie that just came out? His most recent movie.
It was terrible. What was it called? The Netflix one.
Yeah. Anyway, like
I'm so happy that I don't remember the name of it.
There's like 5 or 6 scenes in that movie that there was the exact same scene in Goodfellas.
The Irishman.
The exact same scene. The Irishman, thank you. In Casino. And it's like, how is he not sick of like shooting the same exact scene over and over again? Like, we don't need to see
He's
this
very
again and
old.
again.
He doesn't remember that he did it before.
What were you going to say, Darren?
No, you said what I was going to say. It's okay.
Yeah. So it's just like, yeah, whatever. Whatevs. That's what's great about Hollywood. You could make all different types of movies.
Well, not anymore as much, but
You can't make friends anymore.
no, yeah, exactly. Did you see
I'll
they're
tell you
making
what,
a new
you
Faces of Death movie?
No, I did not at all.
And Charlie XCX is going to be in it for some
Wait,
reason.
they're making a Faces of Death was a documentary, though. It wasn't like a dramatically like horror film or whatever. It was just footage of people getting run over by cars and shit. So they're making a movie based on that with like acting.
I guess so.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's a reimagining of the 1978 film. The movie.
It was just like
footage.
It was like watching Live Leak. It was like all the things that, like people getting shot in Congress and all that, whatever, like that kind of shit. And just back to back for like 90 minutes.
One more thing I want to say about superhero movies. JSC writes, superhero movies are popcorn flicks, and that's fine. And I agree. I just recently rewatched I think I watched for the first time the Indiana Jones trilogy.
You've never seen that before?
I've seen the first one for sure, but the last two I have I was watching them, I was like, I don't ever remember watching these.
You're making another one, by the way.
Yeah, I haven't seen the newer ones.
77 years old or something. It's just ridiculous.
But he's older than that.
I think that those movies are. I was blown away by how entertaining they were and how easy to follow. Like they are the gold standard of popcorn films. Especially, I think the second one is my favorite because I think they really figured out the formula. They figured out the stunts and the pacing, and
And Harrison Ford is awesome.
That's
Harrison
funny
Ford
you say
is
that.
so unbelievably charismatic. Go ahead.
It's funny you say that because the second one is widely considered to be the worst. Of the two first one, I mean, it's like considered vastly inferior to the first one. Of course, the third one's on another level. I mean, that's just critically panned by everybody.
I love
the fourth one. The fourth one. I mean, the one with the crystal skull. Not the third. Third one.
Shia LaBeouf in that one.
Yeah. Sean Connery one.
Of the original trilogy, the second one is considered the worst one. Really?
Yes.
I didn't look at any
widely considered. Yeah.
Any review, but I'm
not saying you're wrong. I'm saying like
sure. This is just my opinion. Like I saw this and I really enjoyed. Maybe because there was with the first one, it's like there was a familiarity to it for me because I've seen it. But whereas the second one felt like more completely new. But I thought the second one is basically the same movie as the first one.
Yes, with a treasure.
Yeah, and a bigger budget, so they had much cooler stunts. So that's why I like
the heart pulling out of the chest. That just like when I was a kid, I couldn't. That traumatized the shit out of me.
Yeah, and there was like real when they get to the Temple of Doom, that whole Temple of Doom section is pretty fucking dark. It's like it's.
I love that movie. I think it's
so great. It's so fun. It's so fun, and but
there is one thing about it though. We were talking about Jennifer Aniston and all that stuff. I mean, all the short round stuff is very dated, like racial.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dr. Jones and all that shit. That's like not gonna hold up nowadays. But he wasn't an Oscar winning
actor
movie
though. Yeah, but I also though I thought he portrayed short round like very lovably and like absolutely great. Like like you said with the Friends thing, like there's a lot of dated dialogue in it. I thought that he added so much to the movie as the sidekick compared to whoever was the sidekick in the first one. Like it made Indiana Jones more likable because of,
I love it
of Harrison Ford's more surly delivery, but he still cared about this kid. So
I love the Temple of Doom. I've been fighting that battle for like 30 years with people. I love it.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. And of course, Sean Connery was so fun as his dad, and like
that's the best one, I think.
And the casting is so cool because it's like you think about the time period, and I'm sure Sean Connery was a much bigger star at the moment that the movie was released, and it was like, wow, here's James Bond as Indiana Jones's dad, right? Like that was probably the feeling there. So that must have been really, really cool as well.
And that fourth one we should just talk about like briefly.
I have not seen that.
Is it worth watching? Is it worth
yes, just to be for completionist's sake, but it's very bad. It's very bad. It's like so bad it's good bad. But the thing people complained about it was that it has aliens in it. Like there's but you can't. How can you complain about that? Like you have like Nazi melting face shit.
Yeah,
and like there's so much supernatural stuff already.
That face melting was so metal. That was so great. I love
one of the
it.
best things in cinema history.
So good.
And a guy
so
pulled a beating heart out of a chest. Every one of these movies has something supernatural, so you can't really complain about the I have no problem with aliens being involved in the storyline.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
not the issue.
Really, it's so dumb. We should do a panel of that movie one day because it's so much to talk about. Like he looks 105 years old. Like it doesn't work for him. You could have made a movie where he has like a reduced role and he's like an older man, and then someone else does the Indiana Jones stuff, But he can't do it. It doesn't look realistic. It's just dumb. And a lot of the story elements, like he survives a nuke. Oh, do you want me to give me spoilers? Because you
do it.
Go ahead.
He goes into a like a nuclear blast test site. This is like in the 40s or whatever. Now time has passed, and he goes into the middle ground zero of a nuclear blast test site. At 3 seconds before it's going to go off, he's in the middle of it. He hides in a refrigerator because it's lead lined, and he survives and he crawls out of the refrigerator. Like, give me a fucking break. Like, I know, and it's a meme already. Everyone has dissected that stupid scene for the last 10, 15 years, but it's just so stupid. It just ruins the movie for me completely. It's laugh out loud funny. The fucking refrigerator just rolls down a hill, boink, boink, boink. It's like for comedic effect, and then Harrison Ford just rolls out. He's like, "Oh, my aching back," or like some fucking muggy line, Like you just were in a nuclear explosion, dude.
And the new one, how so if he was like too old to do this 15 years ago, how is he? And Phoebe Waller-Bridge is the co-star in this new one?
No way. I didn't know
I guess she plays his daughter?
I just can't believe, like, I have to believe he's got like a reduced role in this one. Like he's Indiana Jones.
I think the idea is to pass the franchise. The idea with the last one was to pass it to Shia LaBeouf, but it clearly didn't work. So they're trying to do it again.
Mads
Mikkelsen is in this. That's
a good cast already.
Yeah,
but that one had a good cast too. I don't know. It's just I can't see him doing stunts like that again. I'm purposely avoiding like trailers and promotional materials for that.
Also, it was interesting just to watch a George Lucas film that wasn't Star Wars, that didn't have drones and Star Wars crap. Like that was based in like reality, quote unquote. So yeah, watch the original Indiana Jones trilogy. It now inspired me to get E.T. and the Goonies, which I have seen as a kid, but haven't seen since I was a kid. So I want to see how those
I revisited E.T. and I didn't like it as much as I did when I was a kid. I loved that movie when I was a kid, and I really loved it as a kid. I found a little like more fault with it. Like it's just because I have more of a template of what movies are and stuff, and I feel like they fall into like easy shit in that movie a lot of that. It's still charming. It's got that like Spielberg kind of charm to it, So
yeah, and Goonies was one of my favorite.
Goonies is great, still great. E.T. is just like very paint by numbers Steven Spielberg,
Well,
just like Schindler's List. No, I'm kidding.
I gotta watch that too. That's also.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're a Jew that hasn't seen Schindler's List.
So am I.
I'm gonna watch it in like a 1 hour blocks, right? Because it's long.
We've talked about this, but you're gonna be surprised. There are humor touches in that movie. Like, there's the Steven Spielberg, very recognizable humor, and like it's not overbearing because it's a movie about the Holocaust, but there are like very funny scenes to break up the depression. It's very noticeably Spielberg.
My parents just wanted me to see it so bad when it came out that like I refuse. I can't let go of that like rebellious like, no, Mom, I know what happened already. It's fine. I don't need to see a 3-hour movie about it.
We get it. A few people died.
Here's what you do: watch it and be committed to hating it.
But for that's such a long time to force myself to not enjoy a thing.
That's true.
Yeah, no.
Very true.
Too much.
Folks, if you don't want to watch that, we got plenty you can watch in our Patreon. Patreon.com/RIPLivecast. We have so many watch-alongs. The best watch-alongs, folks. They're just great. They're just, everyone say it, like, these watch-alongs, they're so wonderful. Everywhere I go, like, oh, what a wonderful watch-along. What a wonderful, great watch-along. So There's so many in there. And I just want to go through.
What a wonderful watch along.
There's so many great watch alongs. We just posted one for Clifford, the movie starring Martin Short. Martin Short.
He does wear a shirt in it.
Martin Short. And maybe that's why it sucked. We watched the wrong movie with Martin Short. Clafford.
And a young shifty shell shock. Clifford. It is a brutal movie. And we riff on it. We had a great time riffing on it. Other watch-alongs we've done recently, we watched a episode of the Clerks pilot that never aired of a
the only episode
version, and then the cartoon version. There's some older ones, like we watched the documentary Mean Man, the story of Chris Holmes, which was unbelievably bad. We watched Money Plane, starring Kelsey Grammer and Edge. The Road movie, which is just dash cam footage of insane crashes in Russia. And
crashes and other batshit stuff.
Yes.
Forest fires and assaults, kidnappings.
And of course, we had to do one of the biggest watch-alongs we've ever done, which is the Steven Seagal vehicle, Out for Justice. So all those watch-alongs are available for the low price of $5 a month. You get access to our entire 2 years plus of bonus content. And we have over 100 episodes in there, at least, of bonus material that you can enjoy. And we're going to be posting more later in the month, or at the top of the month, actually, May 1st. We have a really fun one coming up. I'll talk more about it next week. But Deuterino says Pantera, Metallica, and Anvil watch-alongs are my favorites. I believe the Pantera and the Metallica ones are free. You don't even need a Patreon for those. The Anvil one, I think we might have done for the Anvil one was hard to watch.
It was hilarious.
But yeah, no,
our contributions hilarious. Make it fun. He's saying us having to watch it for the show was work, but they're all entertaining.
Patreon.com/RIPLivecast. It's $5 a month. If you want to throw us a few extra bones, $10 extra a month. Oh yeah, what does RIP Livecast stand for this week, Sid?
RIP is an actual RIP for the late great Dame Edna, who passed away. I feel like we mentioned
yes, RIP
on
Dame
the show
Edna
previously. Yeah, 89 years.
A wonderful comedic talent. I watched Dame Edna live, and it was so fun. One of my great memories of just my theater teacher in high school just had some sort of connection and was able to get free Broadway tickets and would take kids from the classes every once in a while. I got to see a bunch of Broadway shows for free, which was really I didn't really understand how cool that was until my adult life. And I saw Dame Edna and she blew me away. It was so funny. One of my favorite bits that she did was she had a phone on the stage and she literally ordered an Italian dinner from a restaurant like 2 blocks down. This was, in Midtown. And then before the end of the show, she got delivered the dinner from the restaurant. Like the delivery person just went down the aisle and came and gave her the food on stage. And I thought that was a really fun bit. And so R.I.P. a Dame.
That's right.
So if you want to be a top Livecast fan of the week, $10 a month gets you a little shout out at the end of the show, which is right now. And I'm going to do it in my Dame Edna voice, which also sounds like Sharon Osbourne, but less screechy. I'm not yelling. I'm Dame Robber, and I want to say thank you to Eric and Benjamin and Dan R. and Sam I Am for being patrons. You're wonderful little... I forget what she called people, like dollies, or she had like a name for her fans, remember. Like Slipknot called them maggots.
Do that then, that's fine.
Call wonderful little maggots, and Mindy May is Kipper, and she's so delightful. And Hugo likes tacos. Well, we don't have tacos down in Australia, I don't think. And Lando
sure they do. What are you talking about?
Corey and Scotty H, what a delightful pair. Doug Pigman and Douglas who...
Sorry, you're supposed to say Scotty H.
Scotty H, Doug Pigman, and Douglas, who are you, Levison? Hey guys, it's Josh. Thank you for your patronage. And thank you for watching and listening. I'm going to go rush over to that record store and get that Macho Man vinyl. We'll see you next week at our regular time. Bye-bye.
See ya.